So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you.
We just need you to stay at the microphones because otherwise the camera's gone. Thank you for doing this, and I do hope you stay here and take as many questions as possible. You say there were 19 officers gathered in the hallway or somewhere. What efforts were made to try and break through that door? You say it was locked. What efforts were the officers making to try and break through either that door or another door to get inside that classroom?
None at that time. The on-scene commander at the time believed that it had transitioned from an active shooter to a barricaded subject.
You have people who are alive, children who are calling 911 saying, please send the police. They are alive. In that classroom, there are lives that are at risk.
Hey,
That's not protocol, is it?
We're well aware of that.
Right, but why was this decision made not to go in and rescue these children?
Again, you know, the on-scene commander considered a barricaded subject and that there was time and there were no more children at risk. Obviously, you know, based upon the information we have, there were children in that classroom that were at risk, and it was, in fact, still an active shooter situation and not a barricaded subject.
Police officers waited for around an hour outside of the adjoining classrooms under attack at the school because of a commander on the scene that incorrectly thought no lives were at risk. Also adding that it was the wrong decision. Throughout the attack, teachers and children repeatedly called 911 asking for help. The families of the 21 individuals lost in Tuesday's attack continue to grieve. This was Texas' deadliest incident in modern history and the nation's third mass incident within weeks. Very short, the police are in a sense telling you that they don't care. How is there possible that there are numerous stories that are given where there are different, things that are stated? Oh, this time here, this time here, this time here. This is what happened. This is what. No, this is what happened. No, this is that. Like I said before, you have police on the scene telling you that there's no one story to the situation, that there's a multitude of different versions. The police can't even keep track of the lies. Pay attention. The police can't even keep track of the lies. Like I said, they do not care about your kids at the end of the day. If this does not realistically show all of the quote unquote true Americans out there exactly what time it is, I don't know what else to sit up there and tell you. But let me sit up here and tell you this though. Let that have been, right, a young black man, right, and he decided to do that, and he was actually still on the scene, and on top of that, he was going back and forth with it would have been got him. They would have had the SWAT, the FBI, Interpol. They would have called all the force. They would have got the Space Force. They would have beamed down a laser and sat up there and pulled down those armed forces to teleport them there just to get him out of there. But when the person just so happens to not be black, this is the end result. This is what happens. You heard how they stated that, oh, well, we didn't think, or from the information that we heard and gathered, that there were any more lives at stake. So we switched gears and as a stood back and we stood down. That's what we did. Even though we kept continuously hearing gunfire, even though there were 911 calls that were being made, even though there were lives that were actually still in that school at the moment in time. Due to the fact of the wrong information that we got, this is how this situation ended up. So like I said before, the police aren't even being honest about the mistake. The only time I realistically saw some honesty was in this clip when the dude, he was like, you know what? We didn't react. We didn't go in there. Yeah, we waited in a hole. That's the most honesty, in a sense, that I was able to see on top of this.
Officer shot. We've heard that some law enforcement officers actually went into school to get their kids out. Can you talk about that?
Right. So what we do know, Vanessa, right now that there was some police officers, families trying to get their children out of the school because it was an active shooter situation right now. It's a terrible situation right now, and of course, just as we mentioned, the loss of life. It's just terrible. It's a terrible tragedy now that took place. But again, we got to keep acknowledging those brave men and women that actually were there on scene.
So, like I've stated to you guys before, the main thing I want y'all to pay attention to is the numerous amounts of lies, the way that they respond, and the way at which they feel that their own lives, right, are more important than everybody else's. Right? They stayed in the hallway, no matter about the 911 calls or anything else that was taking place, no matter the amount of weapon fire that was still happening to go on at that moment in time, and then even during that situation, or maybe a little bit before, whatever, you had cops rolling up to the scene to come pick up their kids. But even within that, they still gave an excuse. They was like, you know what? Yeah, we did have some that did that, but we have to pay attention to the men and the women that were directly on the scene, the men and women that were actually risking their lives, and da 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 da, and all this. Like I said before, they don't care. They're simply telling you they do not care, but they're trying to say it in the nicest terms possible. They're like, yeah, we are hired, to quote unquote protect and serve, but we don't really have to do that. That's just something that we can, decide to cut on and cut off. We don't necessarily have to protect or actually care about your lives because we're the one risking our lives. Our lives are the most important before anybody else, right? They're letting you know that, hey, if you really have a problem, if you really have an issue, and you see that there's something that needs to be fixed, hey, why don't you go up there and sign up to the academy? Or why don't you come up here and take them up? That's literally what these cops out here are telling you. They're like, yo, you want to argue with us, you want to have complaints and everything else like that, you want to critique us, then how about you, instead of being at home, right, being a parent, right, taking care of your kids, right, caring about kids, right, instead of you doing all that, how about you come out here and you do what it is that we do? Now, my main thing is to black people. The main thing I'm trying to get y'all to understand is the main thing I've been saying for probably over 3 years is that at no point in time, given the examples that I've shown you, that you should put all of your faith over into police. The only time the police realistically, chances are very great that they will respond is if the suspect is a black male. Other than that, they're not really going to, in a sense, respond the way that they should respond. Now, if you were a Caucasian female or a Caucasian individual, and you were just so happen to call the police, right, and they can identify that you're Caucasian, they're going to sit up there and send like 20 cars in your direction and in order to stop somebody from like jaywalking or littering or fixing their car on the side of the road or walking down the street, walking to the store, walking from school, talking with friends, so on and so on and so on. They're going to make sure to be there. So I'm trying to, as best as I can, get this to the black people that this is the main reason why I've stated, and many other people have stated before, why it is imperative that the black community basically get together and work together and push a lot of the unnecessary stuff directly to the side, so that we can, look after the best interest of our communities. Because the moment in time that we are able to do that, the quicker we can get a hold of a lot of situations, and the less dependent that we will be when it comes time for anything like this to take place, because we will have a response ready. We'll be there quicker than any cops, any police. Nobody's going to be directly like, yeah, we're just going to sit in the hallway. Yeah, we're just going to sit on the sidelines. Yeah, we're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do that. No, because our team, our group is going to be directly there on that scene quicker than the cops. That's realistically what should be happening. Because if we decide to come together in our community and form our own groups, we can respond quicker, right? So, like I said, I don't know what else to sit up there and tell y'all. I don't know how else to really give better examples as of what to do and, in a sense, what not to do. And for a lot of individuals out there that might want to critique what I'm saying, like, oh, you're just talking from a computer and this, that. Why don't you, go out there in action and show this and that? You have other black men out here who have shown those types of actions by getting black men together and getting them in groups and formulating these groups in the communities. Like I said, at one point in time, this was a thing that was actually growing, but that was all stopped by way of a multitude of outside forces directly out there. Like I said before, I don't care what the dude's political beliefs were or anything like that. My main thing was I'm looking at the main blueprint. He sat up there and got a group of black men together, and they were there ready, and that was a show of force right there. That was a scene that I loved to see. But you had a variety of other people, including black people, that were doing everything within their power in order to basically effectively shut that down and to effectively cancel that out. So therefore, we don't have that, right? That's no longer a scene. That's no longer a thing that's even being talked about at this moment in time. So now, instead of having groups of black men at this moment in time ready to respond to a variety of situations that might be going on, now we have nothing. So now we're back at ground zero. So, like I said, it is what it is at the end of the day. Just note that if at any point in time that we do start getting groups together and they are in a sense successful, that you're going to have a variety of people, especially in the black community, that will show up, that will roll up in order to condemn, to close it down, to heavily critique, to try to get all the guys there locked up. Like I said, it's going to be a never ending cycle. And I really don't think that black people really understand what it is that is transpiring and that is going on directly in front of their eyes.